Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll look at yesterday's court ruling on voter registration requirements. We'll learn about a local event hosted by the Clintons and aimed at helping millennials address societal issues. And we'll take a look at one of the state's most impressive collections of petroglyphs. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. A federal judge ruled yesterday that Arizona and Kansas can require people to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote using a federal form. ASU Law Professor Paul Bender is here to talk about the case. It's good to see you. This is complicated stuff here.
This is very complicated.
And it's something we had talked about before during a Supreme Court review. First of all, what did the federal judge rule?
The federal judge ruled that Arizona could require, it's complicated, there's a federal commission which is called the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, which is supposed to come up with a form that you can use to register to vote in federal elections. And the court ruled that Arizona and Kansas can require that form to require people when they register to have proof that they're citizens. A birth certificate, a driver's license, something like that. The Supreme Court had held last June, the U.S. Supreme Court had held last June, that Arizona could not do that because the federal law, which is called motor voter law, which was passed in 1993, and is intended to make it really easy to register to vote. The Supreme Court held an opinion by Scalia, so it wasn't the liberals against the conservatives, held that the federal law preempts the state law, and the federal law says you can register to vote without proving citizenship. You just have to sign something that says I'm a citizen, and it says under penalty of perjury you're signing it. And the Supreme Court said that's what federal law intended, and so Arizona cannot impose that, except that it said at the end of the opinion, kind of a hint is, you could go back to the commission. They had tried this once before and the commission turned them down. You could go back to the commission and ask them to change the federal form for Arizona and say on the federal form for Arizona that you have to have proof of citizenship. You can do that, you can ask them, and they should give it to you if you need to have them do that in order for you, Arizona, to be able to enforce your requirement that people be citizens in order to vote. So they went back to the commission. The commission turned them down again in a big, long opinion, and they went to a federal district court, and Scalia said, oh, by the way, if the commission turns you down, you can go to court to get it reviewed. And they went to court to get it reviewed, and the court overturned the commission and said the commission was wrong. The commission had to give them this change and had to let them. And remember, we're only talking here about federal elections. That's one of the things that makes it complicated. There are federal elections and state elections. Federal elections are ones for Senate and Congress and presidential electors. Everything else is a state election. The Supreme Court's decision that you can't require people to prove citizenship to vote in elections only applies to federal elections. So the state was planning to have two different registration systems. This decision yesterday, if it stands, relieves the state of that obligation because you would have one registration system, and to vote in any election, you would have to register to vote in any election, you have to prove you're a citizen.
And we should note that this case was heard, the federal judge heard this in Kansas, in the Midwest, as opposed to Arizona, which is under the Ninth Circuit for, I think, pretty obvious reasons.
The Ninth Circuit had ruled in this area before the Supreme Court decision, because the Supreme Court decision involved Arizona. It came from the Ninth Circuit. So they had ruled against Arizona. A very close decision, by the way. I think it was 6-5 in bank court. And so, sure, they went to a different circuit because they figured in the Ninth Circuit they're going to lose.
And they got, well, and they got it. Talk about the judge's reasoning. Why did he decide what he did?
That's a hard question to answer because the opinion is so bad. It's very hard to understand the reasoning behind it. What the Supreme Court said in June, it said, look, under the federal law, you don't need to prove citizenship to register to vote in federal elections. But the federal law has a provision that lets states go to this commission and make changes in the federal law that is state-specific.
Yes.
So they said you could go back to the commission, and if you can convince the commission that you need to have this in order to make sure that only citizens vote, then the commission should give you this change. And so that was the issue before the commission, and the commission said you don't need that. There's all kinds of ways you can get non-citizens off the voting rolls. You got to let them register first, and then if you think they're not citizens, you can challenge them and take them off the rolls. And there are all kinds of ways you could learn that they're not citizens. It makes a big difference, Ted, because under the Arizona system, which this judge is now permitting them to use, you're going to filter out a whole lot of people who are eligible to vote. They come to register, they don't have a birth certificate. Sorry, we can't register. You've got to get a birth certificate. A lot of people don't have it. It's hard to get. It costs money. It's a pain in the neck. And so thousands and thousands of people who are eligible to vote will be stopped from voting because they don't have the document with them. Whereas if you do what the commission said you should do, you let all those people register, and then if you think some of them are not citizens, you can challenge them individually. So there you'll get the non-citizens off the rolls, but you won't keep all the citizens who you keep off the rolls by this kind of pre-challenge requirement of having a birth certificate when you register.
It sounds like the judge said that the Elections Commission had no right to deny the state's request.
That's what he said.
Does that make sense?
No. No, and it doesn't make sense even in Scalia's opinion, because Scalia said you can request the commission to give you this. If you can prove that you absolutely need it, you can request it. The judge said they have a right to get it from the commission.
Yeah, so basically why request it? I mean, basically just wait for the answer of yes.
Yeah. And if this judge was right, Scalia would have said, you have a right to this, just go to the commission and they have to give it to you. He didn't say that. So that's why I think the opinion is so weak, and I would suspect there will be an appeal.
I was going to say, does it survive an appeal?
I wouldn't think so.
Does it go all the way to the Supreme Court?
It could very well be, yeah. It could, because they've had this case once before, so they might very well do it. They frequently take a case that they've had before.
The issue of, we should mention that the Secretary of State said that he was delighted with the decision. Yeah. The Attorney General said that it's a victory for election integrity, and voter fraud is a significant problem in Arizona. How big an issue is voter fraud in Arizona?
That's something that there's some controversy about, and the Commission's opinion in this case talks about it. There is very, very little evidence of voter fraud of this kind in either Kansas or in Arizona. It's a tiny, tiny, like 1/1000th of 1% of the voters, or the people who try to register to vote, are not citizens. It's a tiny little problem. And so what you have here is a solution to basically a non-problem. And the commission said, you know, not only don't you need this, but you don't have any real problem to work on. It's a tiny problem. In order to solve a very, very small problem, a lot of people worry about illegal immigrants. Mm-hmm. If you were an illegal immigrant, would you go and try to register to vote? You're just turning yourself over to the immigration authorities by doing that. So there are not going to be a lot of people who are not citizens who register to vote. So the kind of thing the Arizona thing does is, as I was saying before, it stops a whole lot of people from voting, from registering, who have a right to register, but they don't have the document with them. And in order to solve a problem that's a tiny little problem of maybe a few people will fall through the cracks and vote when they're not citizens.
Last question on this. You mentioned the motor voter law and how this was kind of the impetus for getting this federal form that is easy to fill out under penalty of perjury. All you got to do is check the box and sign. So you got two.
And it was meant to be something you did with a postcard.
Yes.
You can't attach a birth certificate to a postcard.
If that, Congress's intent to do that, does that play into the case? What Congress wanted as opposed to what Arizona wants?
Oh yeah, no, that's what the whole case is about. This is a preemption case. It's as I've been saying, it's really complicated because there are state elections and federal elections. The state gets the right to say what the qualifications are for a voter, but Congress gets the right to monitor to make the rules for federal elections, mm-hmm. to how they proceed, registration rules and things like that. So when Congress exercises its power to regulate federal elections, its exercise of power predominates over the states. So the state has a right to require you to have a birth certificate to register to vote in state elections. But if Congress says, no, no, we don't want that requirement for federal elections, Congress's right is superior, and that's what the court held in June.
Unless you wind up with a two-tier system
that
will probably still be in play if this thing is appealed, correct?
Well, I would think there's a good chance it'd be stayed on appeal. If it stayed and if it's reversed, then there would be a two-tier system, unless the state wanted to give up on Prop 200 and say, okay, since people can register to vote for federal elections without that, we'll let them register to vote for state elections without that. And we'll do what the commission said they could do for state elections as well as federal. Just if you see people who are registered and you don't think they're citizens, attack them by removing them from the rolls.
Timetable on this? What do you see?
I would think there's going to be a motion for stay before the 10th Circuit tomorrow or early next week. Then there will be an appeal. And appeals can take several months at least before the appeal would be argued. There's no real, when's the next election?
Well, primaries are in August.
Yeah, so the court may think there's some urgency to it, so they might do it, but they won't do it for any faster than a few months.
All right. It's always a pleasure. Good to see you.
Here.
Get the inside scoop on what's happening at Arizona PBS. Become an 8 Insider. You'll receive weekly updates on the most anticipated upcoming programs and events. Get the 8 Insider delivered to your email inbox. Visit azpbs.org to sign up today. Expand your horizon with the Arizona Horizon website. To get there, go to azpbs.org. Click on the Arizona Horizon tab at the top of the screen. Once there, you can access many features, watch interviews by clicking on the video button. You can also find out what's on Arizona Horizon for the coming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or want to buy a video, that's all on the website too. Want to learn about specific topics like immigration or the legislature? You can visit our special web sections. Show your support for Arizona Horizon at azpbs.org/Arizona Horizon.
The 7th annual meeting of the Clinton Global Initiative University will take place this weekend at ASU. Former President Bill Clinton, former Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, and Clinton Foundation Vice Chair Chelsea Clinton will meet with more than 1,000 student leaders from around the world in an effort to find solutions to pressing concerns of the millennial generation. Here now to talk about the event is Jacqueline Smith, ASU Executive Director of University Initiatives. Also joining us are 2 ASU student participants. Kathleen Stefanik is a psychology major, and her project focuses on poverty alleviation. And ASU public policy major Josue Macias is focusing on peace and human rights. It is good to have you all here. Welcome to the show, and I guess welcome to a very busy weekend. What is this all about?
Absolutely. So this is a weekend to celebrate students who are committed to solving pressing challenges, just like you talked about. We're hoping that we'll create a supportive community for these students, and we're welcoming them from over 80 countries around the world.
What are some of the concerns, some of the major focuses here?
So CGI is focusing on 5 major areas: education, health, poverty alleviation, climate change, and human rights. And the students that you have here today are just 2 of the 1,200 that are tackling these challenges through really innovative projects that they've developed.
Now, the students that are gathering, are these students who have already tackled or are attempting to tackle, or those who are just beginning the process or even curious about the process?
That's a great point. So the students who are here will be submitting and have submitted commitments to action. These are new, specific, and measurable projects. And they're really at a variety of stages. Some have already begun their ventures, and the new feature that they'll be advancing might be working with a new community or in a new geographic area. And others are really at that early stage, and so they need some support and ideas and resources about the next steps they should take.
And we should mention there are a number of big names, leaders, just recognizable folk who will be here basically as mentors. What's that all about?
Sure. So we have 4 large plenary sessions where some of these big names will be addressing some of the ideas that they have and helping to inspire them to maintain their commitments to action. And then there'll be some smaller, more intimate working and skill sessions where students will gain insights about how to take their ideas forward. And
we should mention some of those names. They range from John McCain to Jimmy Kimmel and all points in between.
That's
so there are
right.
a lot of folks out here. Kathleen, let's talk about your project. And I know you were working with folks in Peru. Tell us what got you started on this and how it's turned out.
Okay, well, this project actually started as a class exercise at ASU, and we were asked to help with some problems that Peru was having with their crop production. And so we researched that, and we focused on a method called terra preta, and this is an ancient method that had been lost. And what terra preta is, anthropologists had rediscovered it in the 1800s, and it actually has a very high carbon content, so there's a lot of charcoal in it. And we think that these ancient farmers probably really discovered this quite by accident.
So you're basically talking about improving modern farming by going back to an ancient technique?
Yes. Yes, that's what's really exciting about it, because it actually came from the Amazon, and we are working in that region on our pilot study, and then hope to spread this technology around the world from there.
Now, why this project? Why you?
You know, none of us were soil scientists,
yeah.
But interestingly enough, we have had so much help from ASU professors and even professors from all over the world. ASU's Global Resolve has been invaluable in helping us to create partnerships, because when you go to work in another country, you really need to have local partners to work with, and so that was really essential to our success.
Well, and it sounds like quite a success that we've been seeing from some of the visual images there. Josue, let's talk about you now. It seems like more activism, advocacy going on here. What are you involved with?
It's actually not necessarily advocacy. What we're focused on is using our education and applying it to advance human rights in a very innovative way. The mission of Local Exchange Global Change is wholeheartedly with Nelson Mandela's quote, which is using education as the most powerful weapon that we have to change the world. So our focus is to help the 76,000 students that Arizona State University has to transform communities locally and around the world.
And it's called Local Exchange Global Change. It sounds like you're connecting these students to refugee and immigrant concerns?
Yes. So Local Exchange Global Change was built on the belief that if we connected educated minds with a strategic support system, empowered them through a high impact transformative experience with the local host family, then and supported their commitments to help that family overcome the challenges of their development as active citizens, then we can strengthen our communities.
Yeah, so basically it sounds like you're training students to recognize and in some case advocate against injustice,
yes.
correct? Okay,
yes,
we got that
correct.
advocacy in there. Kathleen, back to you. You have a very interesting story now. From what I was looking at, you kind of came from a tough beginning to get where you are now. Talk to us about that.
I did. I grew up in extreme poverty, so I really understand what our farmers in rural Peru are dealing with. In rural Peru, 3 out of 4 people live on less than $1.25 a day, and they depend on agriculture for their livelihood. So that's why it's so important that we take this technology to them. And this technology is so effective that studies have shown that it can increase crop production by up to 880%. And that's life-changing for these people.
We've got, obviously working with people in Peru, working with ASU students to understand refugee and immigrant concerns. How do you go from, that's a great idea, to possibly seed money to get these things really up and going?
Absolutely. So at Arizona State University, part of why we were selected to host this prestigious event is because we have a strong commitment to entrepreneurship on all 4 of our campuses. And in fact, there are several seed funding competitions that are available to ASU students, resources where students can go, for example, a place called Changemaker Central. So a student who identifies as being a change maker, they want to make an impact either locally or globally. They start there and they find out about the resources and tools that they can use. But for all of the CGIU students who are coming to campus, CGI has actually helped with their own seed funding competition called the Resolution Project. So this weekend, actually $100,000 in seed funding will be distributed to CGI participants.
So folks like Josue and Kathleen, they, or perhaps these two in particular, they go to a booth or they go to these people and they say, here's my idea.
So for the Resolution Project in particular, there's been a select group of students who've been selected to pitch. So on Saturday, there will be a period where there will be students who will be delivering these short elevator pitches, and a panel of judges will decide who gets to take home some of the seed funding.
And Josue, the idea of this commitment to action, turning ideas into action, were there challenges along the way?
Oh, most definitely. I think the key insight that we've gotten as a student group is, learning the gift of collaboration and harnessing that gift. So building collaborative relationships, not just with other student leaders, but also with community partners, which are helping us develop our model.
Well, it sounds like a fantastic, it sounds a very busy weekend for all of you, I'm sure.
Yes.
Congratulations, continued success, and we'll look forward to hearing about what comes out of this initiative. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ted.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Art Beat looks at a Phoenix facility preserving drawings from the past. Ancient people making their way through the Southwest had to find a way to communicate with each other. Now, thousands of years later, those ancient writings have been unearthed. Producer Shauna Fisher and photographer Ed Kishel take us on a journey to the past at the Deer Valley Rock Art Center.
The Deer Valley Rock Art Center is like most museums. Sure, there are paintings and there are sculptures, but what makes this museum different is its setting.
The Deer Valley Rock Art Center is an archaeological site and 47 acres Sonoran Desert Preserve.
The museum is nestled into the Hedgepeth Hills near I-17 in Deer Valley. It's home to one of the best examples in the world of petroglyphs.
For thousands of years, people came to this place, either doing travels, and some of them stayed, and decided to make marks in the form of carvings on rock. We call these marks petroglyphs, and these give us an idea of, perhaps what life was like in prehistoric times. We have the largest concentration of rock art in Phoenix, so we have over 1,500 marks in one hillside.
Museum coordinator Cassandra Hernandez says although we may recognize symbols like human stick figures, deer, archaeologists can't say for sure what the symbols mean. But they do know this was the earliest form of communication between tribal people. The petroglyphs were discovered after a series of floods in the 1970s.
The Army Corps of Engineers built Adobe Dam here, and at the time the dam was going to bring development to this part of Phoenix, and so they recommended that a museum was built to preserve the petroglyphs and also to function as an interpretive center where people could learn about the history of Arizona.
Hernandez says the best time to enjoy the petroglyphs is in the morning, when the sun isn't overhead and you can see the carvings clearly.
So if you come early in the morning, and then you'll get a chance to stroll through the acres of desert landscape that we have. I think we can hear the quail maybe right now. We're a nature preserve, so we have many animals and plants that you can learn about. And then also look at the exhibits and learn something about the peoples who were here before and left the marks. And then also, maybe come for one of our events.
Tourists come from all over the world to enjoy the scenery. Chanel Casabon is from Montreal.
Smelling the plants, it sounds really weird, but I really enjoy. I'm used to the very piney smell of Canada. This is a very different feeling. To kind of get an experience of just outside of the city is also nice, to feel like you're a little far away from everything else. It's really nice.
For New Zealander Christy Williams, the combination of the man-made drawings and the nature-made backdrop piqued her curiosity.
So we're out here looking at the petroglyphs, looking at all the different plants and being told about all the different uses, so medicinal and there's edible plants. Apparently every single plant out here can be used in one way or another, so that was really interesting.
We should all be invested in preserving places like this, not damaging them and being able to share them with future generations. But beyond that, also to use them as points of departure for our own understandings, right? Like these places give us access to, I want to call them emotional geographies, right? The way that we connect to place, to history, to time, to landscape. And, you know, also it's something that we want to preserve for other people to enjoy, for other people to have that opportunity to reflect upon their own lives that way. And so it's really important that we leave things untouched and there for centuries to come.
The museum was designed by famed architect Will Bruder. He wanted it to look like a time machine, bridging the past with the future. Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. We'll compare recently released House and Senate budgets with the proposal from the governor's office, and will fights over education standards derail budget negotiations. Those stories and more Friday on the Journalists Roundtable. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.